Now we're taking the draped pieces off the form, and as you can see, many pins are stuck into the foam and felt underlay. Let's just feel your way, just keep your fingers where they are when you take the pins out. You've already marked everything, so you should be fairly confident to take the pieces off. There'll be quite a large amount of seam allowance at this point. It's only for any mistakes you might make at this stage. We'll cut them off later on. We're just taking it all off, putting it onto the table to see what we've got. So on the flat, we're just lining everything up just to see how it matches, matching up our notches. As I said, the waistline is quite rough because that will change. We mark the centre front. Mark each piece, each panel. I normally mark it numbered, and R for right side and L for left. Centre back. Whether they're a side panel, front panel, back panel. So we take it quite slowly at this point. I don't realise until a little bit later that I've cut off a little bit too much there, but we can rectify that. So now we come to truing the marks that we've made. This solidifies the lines, makes them more established, if you like. We use the French curve because this is where the lines of the corset become more prominent. Just going over the notches to be clear where they are. At this stage I'm just cutting a smaller seam allowance. All that will be cut off eventually, but it's just to see how it all lines up on the flat. And when you're using the French curve, just move it around to see which curve you need. As you can see, I do it in stages if it's more of a curve than straight. just matching up the notches just to keep some flow going. And then we come to the where we marked it with the tape. You just follow it along, and the excess at the moment we'll just put it in as a dart, and later on I'll show how I'll change that. Making sure the notches are on every piece. And when you cut closer to the dart, you fold it to get the dart shape. Turn over the French curve depending on which curve you need. If you make a mistake, just cross it out. You might not remember next time what you did. It's not important to be too exact, it's only really to obviously you need the lines to line up. And there, I follow the line, but when we did our refining and designing, I changed it to be more snug. So just cross out the bits you don't need. That will disappear in the seam allowance. Now we're happy with what we've achieved so far. We cut out the patterns with no seam allowance. It's the way I work. Some people would keep the seam allowances, but I work just from, again we fold the dart there. I work from patterns with no seam allowance and add it when I come to work the pattern. It looks like we're cutting off the matching notches, but we're not. We've still got them in the body of the pattern. Just emphasize them if they're a little bit light. Now, it's not the end of the world if you forget a notch. You can still get by. I deliberately didn't put the grain lines on the working pieces because I wanted to show it now, just in case it was forgotten. You can always go back and find the grain line. So this is the centre front. Because the centre front is on the straight of grain, you can use a ruler just to mark a straight line, and 90-degree angles, which then you match up and go across, and you can find those on the centre front and centre back. On the centre back, it's where it was cut higgledy-piggledy, so I'm using the grabbing the thread to find the straight, and you take that all the way up as far as you can. To get a longer line, it's preferred. I'm just doing this to be briefer, but you'd go longer with the line. Continue up for the straight grains, and as you go onto the other panels, you'll see that they're more biased.